billionaire CEO Alexandra Whitmore watches her 15-year empire collapse, overnight servers crashing, fortune bleeding out, and no one left to call, she thinks fate is punishing her for all the love she traded for success. But then, through the glass wall of her office, a janitor in a faded blue uniform pauses. His name tag reads Carter Hayes, and behind his calm eyes lies a buried genius who once built the systems now destroying her own. In the next 6 hours, this forgotten man will rewrite not only her company's code, but her understanding of worth, loyalty, and love, forever and completely. Manhattan at night wears its ambition like armor. The Whitmore Technologies building rises 40 stories above the street, all glass and steel and LED screens that pulse with data, reflected light dancing across marble floors that cost more than most people earn in a year. Inside the executive suite, the air tastes of cold luxury, of money that has forgotten what hunger feels like. The city spreads below like a circuit board, every light a transaction, every window a dream someone bought or sold. Alexandra Whitmore stands alone in her corner office, 34 years old and platinum blonde, wearing an elegant red V-neck bodycon dress that cost $3,000 and feels like armor. She has the posture of someone who has never lost, the expression of someone who has never cried in front of witnesses. Her reflection in the floor-to-ceiling window shows a woman who won every battle and somehow still feels empty. She whispers to the glass, to the city, to no one. I won. I had to. A secondary monitor in the corner flickers. Red. Just once. Alexandra glances at it, dismisses it as a glitch, turns back to her view of Manhattan. She has a board meeting in the morning, a merger that will add another $100 million to Whitmore Technologies' valuation. One more victory. One more proof that she made the right choices. The monitor flickers again. This time it stays red. Then another screen across the room joins it. Then another. Alexandra's heels click across marble as she moves to the nearest terminal. The words make her blood go cold. Unauthorized access detected. Data breach in progress. She reaches for her phone, fingers steady but her pulse climbing. The night shift tech calls her back within seconds, his voice high and cracking. Miss Whitmore, we're seeing massive intrusions across all sectors. Accounts are being drained. Data is being deleted. We've lost access to backup servers. I don't know what to do. Alexandra's voice cuts like ice. Call Stephanie Lynn. Call the entire cybersecurity team. Get everyone in here. Now. But the phones ring into voicemail. The team went home 2 hours ago, exhausted from preparing for tomorrow's presentation. The building is nearly empty. The night shift tech is a college intern who knows how to restart a router, but nothing more. Alexandra hangs up and watches her empire bleed to death in real time, one system failure cascading into the next. The screens multiply their red warnings. Transaction logs scroll past, showing hundreds of millions being siphoned into accounts she does not recognize. Client databases vanish into corruption. Backup protocols fail to initialize. The entire digital infrastructure of Whitmore Technologies is collapsing, and Alexandra Whitmore, who has solved every problem with control and money and sheer will, stands helpless in her $3,000 dress, watching it all fall apart. She sinks into her chair. The lights in the building begin to fail, floor by floor, leaving only the red glow of dying systems. For the first time in 15 years, Alexandra Whitmore admits the truth out loud. I might actually lose everything. She slams her fist on the desk. Her hand shakes. She presses it flat against the cold glass surface, breathing hard, mascara starting to smudge at the corners. The city below keeps moving, indifferent to her crisis, to her fear, to the fact that a 15-year empire is dying in a single night. Then, in the silence of catastrophe, she hears it, a small sound, the squeak of wheels, the wet slap of a mop against tile. Alexandra turns, frowning. Who is here at this hour? Down the hallway, pushing a cleaning cart stacked with yellow bottles and gray rags, comes a man in a faded blue uniform. He is tall, maybe 6 feet, with the lean build of someone who works hard and eats less than he should. His brown hair is slightly messy, touched with gray at the temples. His eyes deep brown, calm, steady, notice everything. His name tag, slightly crooked, reads, Carter Hayes. Carter stops when he sees Alexandra standing among the red screens. He does not look afraid or confused. He looks concerned, the way a person looks when they see another person in pain and actually care. Are you okay, ma'am? His voice is warm, touched with a Brooklyn accent that speaks of neighborhoods where people still know their neighbors' names. Alexandra laughs, bitter and dry. Do I look okay? My company is bleeding out faster than I can count. Carter sets down his mop. He moves closer to the glass door of the office, his eyes scanning the screens behind her. The red warnings reflect in his pupils. His expression shifts, sharpens. That's not just a glitch, he says quietly. That's a coordinated cyber attack. Alexandra stares at him. What did you just say? Carter points at one of the monitors. The pattern, the timing. This is ransomware combined with data exfiltration. Someone's hitting your authentication servers first to lock out your team's response. Then they're targeting financial systems and client data simultaneously. Classic multi-vector attack. He meets her eyes. I used to work in cybersecurity, before life took me somewhere else. Alexandra Whitmore has made a career out of reading people. She sees competence when others see maintenance workers. She sees opportunity when others see desperation. And right now, standing in a room full of dying machines, she sees something in this janitor's calm brown eyes that makes her want to trust him, which is insane. But insanity, she thinks, might be her only option. Fine, she says. You've got 5 minutes. Impress me. Carter Hayes removes his cleaning gloves. He sets his mop against the cart. He walks into the office, the CEO's private space, and sits down in her chair like he has every right to be there. His fingers hover over the keyboard. Then they begin to move, fast and precise, typing commands that make sense to him and look like magic to Alexandra. His face is calm, but his eyes are alive, tracking patterns she cannot see, solving problems she cannot name. Alexandra stands behind him, trying to maintain composure, trying not to hope. A question forms in her mind, unspoken but loud. Who exactly are you, Carter Hayes? 10 years ago, Alexandra Whitmore was 24 years old and hungry for everything. She sat in a cramped apartment that smelled of instant coffee and broken dreams, her laptop on a folding table, calling investors who hung up on her 3 times before listening. She was building Whitmore Technologies from nothing, one line of code and one desperate pitch at a time. Her phone rang. The screen said, "Mom." Alexandra looked at the time. She had a meeting with a venture capitalist in Singapore in 12 hours. The flight left in 4. "Not now," she whispered to the phone. She sent the call to voicemail and kept typing. The phone rang again. This time it was a text. "It's my birthday, honey. Will you come over?" Alexandra typed back, "I can't, Mom. This deal could change everything. I promise I'll visit next week." She never visited next week. She flew to Singapore. She sat across from men in expensive suits and convinced them to believe in her. She signed contracts. She shook hands. She felt destiny clicking into place. And while she was feeling destiny, her mother was being rushed to a hospital with a heart attack, calling her daughter's name, dying alone. The next call came from a nurse. Alexandra took it in the hotel lobby, surrounded by marble and gold. The nurse's voice was gentle but final. "I'm so sorry, Miss Whitmore. She asked for you at the end." Alexandra flew home in time for the funeral. She stood in a black dress, holding white flowers, watching them lower her mother into the ground. She did not cry. She told herself it was an unavoidable sacrifice, the price of success, the cost of ambition. But late at night, in her empty apartment, the guilt would find her. It would whisper, "You chose a meeting over your mother's last birthday. You chose money over love, and you will never, ever get that choice back." She built Whitmore Technologies into a fortress after that. She poured herself into the company, made it perfect, made it powerful, made it everything her mother never got to see. But perfection, she learned, is just loneliness with better branding. 7 years ago, Carter Hayes was a different man. He sat in a high-rise office, not as a janitor, but as one of the most respected cybersecurity engineers in New York. He was 29 years old, earning $200,000 a year, and building systems that protected billions of dollars in transactions. His colleagues called him brilliant. His bosses called him indispensable. His wife called him hers. Amanda Hayes was a teacher, small and gentle with kind blue eyes and a laugh that made Carter feel like the luckiest man alive. She taught 3rd grade and believed in goodness the way other people believe in gravity. When she told him she was pregnant, Carter cried happy tears and promised her everything. They named their daughter Ruby. She had Amanda's eyes and Carter's stubborn chin. For 6 months, their apartment was full of laughter and baby sounds, and the feeling that life was perfect. Then Amanda found the lump. The diagnosis came fast and brutal. Stage 3. The doctors said treatment would be aggressive and expensive and uncertain. Carter sold their car. He sold his watch. He took leave from his job to care for Amanda and Ruby simultaneously, driving between hospital and daycare, sleeping in chairs, learning to change diapers with one hand while holding his wife's hand with the other. Amanda fought for 3 years. Carter fought beside her. He begged his company for more time, more flexibility, more understanding. They gave him warnings instead. They said his skills were atrophying, his value declining, his absence unacceptable. They fired him 6 months before Amanda died. The end came in a sterile hospital room with fluorescent lights that hummed. Amanda was 40 pounds lighter than her wedding day, her skin pale, her breath shallow, but her eyes were still kind. She held Ruby, who was now 3 years old, in her thin arms. Then she placed the little girl in Carter's hands. "Promise me," Amanda whispered, her voice barely there. "Protect her. Choose her. Even over your career, especially over your career." Carter promised. Amanda closed her eyes. The heart monitor went flat, and Carter Hayes, who had been a genius, became a widower and a single father in the same terrible moment. After the funeral, he applied to 100 tech jobs. Every company said the same thing. 3 years away from technology? Your skills are outdated. We're sorry. He took the job as a janitor at Whitmore Technologies because it had flexible hours, decent pay, and healthcare that covered Ruby's pediatrician visits. He cleaned floors at night, picked Ruby up from daycare in the afternoon, and told himself that being a good father was worth more than being a respected engineer. Most days he believed it. But sometimes, late at night, when Ruby was asleep and the apartment was quiet, Carter Hayes would remember who he used to be, and he would wonder if the world would ever see him again. Now, in the basement of Whitmore Technologies, Carter Hayes becomes that man again. Alexandra led him down 4 flights of stairs to the server room, the beating heart of her company. The space is cold, loud with the hum of cooling fans, lit by blue LEDs that make everything look like an alien landscape. Rows of machines stretch into shadow, each one processing millions of dollars in transactions, each one currently under attack. Alexandra hands Carter her master access card, the one that opens every door and grants every privilege. Her hand shakes slightly as she places it in his palm. "You have everything," she says. "Don't make me regret this." Carter looks at her. His voice is steady. "If this works, don't forget who was here when no one else was." He turns to the terminal. His fingers move across the keyboard like a pianist returning to a beloved instrument. He scans the network, identifies the compromised nodes, isolates them from the clean systems. He builds a temporary firewall, cutting off the attacker's access, even as they scramble to adapt. He disconnects external servers to stop the bleeding, then starts searching for the backup files that were not connected to the main network, the ones the attacker could not reach. Alexandra watches him work. She has spent 15 years giving orders, controlling outcomes, forcing the world to bend to her will. Now she stands silent, powerless, watching a man she thought invisible save everything she built. The shame is sharp. How many times did she walk past Carter in the hallway and never see his face? How many times did she dismiss the cleaning staff as part of the furniture? How many brilliant people did she fail to recognize because they were not wearing expensive suits? Hours pass. Carter does not stop. His eyes are red with fatigue, but his hands are steady. Alexandra brings him coffee from the break room. He drinks it without looking away from the screen. She sits on a plastic chair in the corner, still in her red dress, and realizes she has never felt more helpless or more hopeful in her entire life. At 3 a.m, the screen flashes green. The words appear. "System restored successfully." Alexandra gasps. She rushes to the terminal. Monitors begin to stabilize. Accounts are locked but intact. Data is recovered at 97%. The hemorrhaging has stopped. Whitmore Technologies is alive. She sinks into the chair beside Carter, laughing and crying at the same time. "We're alive. Oh my God, we're alive." Carter leans back, exhausted, his face pale. "Your empire's breathing again, Miss Whitmore. It just needed a little CPR." Alexandra turns to him, her mascara smudged, her hair falling loose from its perfect style. "How do I even thank you?" Carter's expression shifts. The warmth fades. "You don't owe me anything. Just fix what's broken outside these systems." The words hang between them. Alexandra understands. He is not talking about computers. He is talking about people. About the ones she never saw, the ones she walked past. The ones she treated as invisible. The next morning, Whitmore Technologies buzzes with confused energy. Employees arrive to find the network restored, the systems functioning, the crisis mysteriously averted. Rumors spread fast. "We almost died last night, but somehow everything's back. Who saved us?" Alexandra stands in the control room, still wearing yesterday's red dress, drinking her 4th cup of coffee. Beside her sits Carter Hayes, still in his blue janitor uniform, looking like he has not slept in a week. Which is true. She calls an emergency meeting. The leadership team files in. CFO Valerie Stone, a sharp woman in her 50s who has been with Alexandra since the beginning. CTO Stephanie Lynn, brilliant and ambitious and visibly irritated at being summoned before 9 a.m. The VPs, the directors, the managers. They sit around the glass table, staring at the janitor sitting beside the CEO, trying to understand the scene before them. Alexandra's voice cuts through the confusion. "We were under a massive cyber attack last night. We survived because one man refused to let this company die." She gestures to Carter. "This is Carter Hayes. He saved Whitmore Technologies when no one else could." Stephanie Lynn leans forward, her jaw tight. We have an entire tech department. You're saying a janitor did what my whole team couldn't? Alexandra meets her eyes. I'm saying he did what no one else could last night. He understood the attack pattern, isolated the breach, and restored our systems in 6 hours. He is the reason we still have jobs this morning. The room goes silent. Valerie Stone looks thoughtful. Stephanie looks furious. Alexandra continues, her voice firm. Effective immediately, Carter Hayes is our Director of Cybersecurity, reporting directly to me. He will lead the rebuild of our security infrastructure. He has full authority and full support. The announcement lands like a bomb. Employees in the hallway whisper. Stephanie Lynn leaves the meeting early, her heels clicking hard against marble. Carter sits still, looking overwhelmed, looking like a man who just got handed back his life. Alexandra walks him to a small office beside her own. The walls are glass, the desk is clean. The employee card sitting on the keyboard says, Carter Hayes, Director of Cybersecurity. Carter picks it up, stares at it, feels the weight of redemption in his hands. Alexandra stands beside him at the window, looking down at Manhattan. Most people would have walked away last night, she says quietly. You didn't. Carter does not look at her. Most people aren't single parents with a kid depending on them. Alexandra turns to him. For the first time, she sees him fully. Not a janitor, not a problem solver, but a man with a life, a daughter, a story that she never bothered to ask about. You have a daughter? Ruby. She's 7 years old. Loves drawing and dinosaurs and asking questions I don't know how to answer. His voice softens. She's the reason I took this job in the first place. Flexible hours, health care, enough to live on, enough to keep her safe. Alexandra feels something crack inside her chest. She has spent 15 years building a company. This man spent 7 years building a life for his child. Both of them sacrificed. Both of them chose. But only one of them seems to have gotten it right. Thank you, she whispers, for everything. Carter finally looks at her. Just don't forget the people who keep this place running when you're not looking. His words follow her for the rest of the day. That night, alone in her apartment, Alexandra Whitmore cries for the first time in 10 years. Weeks pass. Whitmore Technologies recovers. The press calls it a miracle comeback. Stock prices rise. Clients return. The board breathes easier. But inside the glass tower, Carter Hayes begins to notice something wrong. Late at night, when most employees have gone home, Carter reviews the system logs. He has rebuilt the cybersecurity infrastructure from the ground up. Decentralized backups, military-grade encryption, layered firewalls, intrusion detection that learns and adapts. He has trained the team, fixed the vulnerabilities, made Whitmore Technologies nearly unhackable. But someone is still trying. The access attempts are subtle. They come at odd hours, from internal terminals, using credentials that should not exist. The pattern is familiar, too familiar. It matches the original attack not perfectly, but close enough to be recognizable. Carter traces the logs back, cross-references them with the building's keycard access system. On a name appears repeatedly, Stephanie Lynn. Carter sits in his office, staring at the screen, feeling his stomach tighten. Is she careless, or is she complicit? He sets up a honeypot, a fake server filled with tempting but false data, designed to trap anyone who accesses it without authorization. Then he waits. 3 days later, the honeypot triggers. Someone accessed the server at 11:47 at night. The logs show the terminal, the credentials, the exact files viewed. Carter exports the data and walks to Alexandra's office. She is still there, reviewing quarterly projections, exhausted but focused. She looks up when Carter enters. Please tell me this isn't what I think it is. Carter sets his laptop on her desk. We have a traitor inside the company. I don't know if it's carelessness or intentional, but someone is trying to access secure systems they shouldn't be near. Alexandra's face go pale. Can you prove it? Not yet, but I can make them reveal themselves. They work through the night. Carter creates a second honeypot, this time filled with even more sensitive fake data, financial projections, merger plans, confidential client lists. He and Alexandra tell no one. They watch the system like hawks. 2 nights later, the trap springs. Stephanie Lynn accessed the honeypot. But this time, Carter's cameras catch her entering his office when he is not there, touching his terminal, trying to delete the logs. Alexandra appears from the shadows. It's over, Stephanie. Stephanie spins around, her face shifting from surprise to defiance. She laughs, bitter and sharp. You think this is about me? You really don't get it, do you? Alexandra steps closer, then explain it to me. Stephanie's voice drips with venom. Neuroline systems. They want Whitmore. They've wanted it for years. They funded this whole thing. The attack, the infiltration, all of it. She smiles coldly. You're going to lose anyway, Alexandra. I just got tired of waiting. Security arrives. Stephanie tries to run, but the exits are already sealed. She is escorted out in handcuffs, still smiling, still defiant. Alexandra watches her go, feeling sick. But Carter's face is grim. She's not the only one, he says quietly. She said they. That means there's someone else. That night, a message appears on Carter's phone. Stop digging, or you'll regret it. Carter checks his car the next morning. Under the rear bumper, hidden and magnetic, is a GPS tracker. His blood goes cold. They are not just watching, they know where he goes, where he lives, where Ruby goes to school. His phone rings. It is Laura, Ruby's babysitter. Her voice is shaking. Carter, there's a man outside the school. He's been standing there for 30 minutes, just watching the kids. Ruby noticed him. She's scared. Carter does not finish his sentence. He does not grab his laptop or his files or his badge. He runs. He reaches the school in 15 minutes, adrenaline making every second feel like an hour. Ruby is in the principal's office, sitting in a chair too big for her small body, clutching her stuffed dinosaur to her chest. Her eyes are red. When she sees her father, she runs to him and buries her face in his chest. Daddy, he kept staring at me. I got so scared. Carter holds her, his hands shaking with rage and fear. He checks the security footage. The man is gone, but his face is captured on camera. Carter does not recognize him. But he understands the message. They know who he loves, and they will hurt her to stop him. That night, Carter sits on the edge of Ruby's bed, watching her sleep. Her face is peaceful now, her dinosaur tucked under one arm, but the threat is real. The danger is close. And Carter knows he cannot keep fighting if it puts Ruby in the crosshairs. He calls Alexandra. His voice is rough. They're getting close to my daughter. I can't keep doing this. I'm done. There is silence on the other end. Then Alexandra speaks, her voice steady and sad. Then stop. Protect her. The company will manage. For the first time since they met, Carter hears real compassion in her voice. Not calculation, not strategy, just a human being, understanding another human being's pain. He hangs up. He sits in the dark. Ruby stirs in her sleep, murmuring something about dinosaurs and pancakes. And Carter remembers Amanda's voice from 7 years ago, thin and fading in a hospital bed. Don't just protect her by hiding, Carter. Show her what it means to stand up to fear. He looks at his daughter. He thinks about the kind of man he wants her to see when she looks at him. And he makes a decision. He calls Alexandra back. I'm coming back, but this time we do it my way, and we end it for good. Alexandra's voice is firm. Then we end it together. Carter goes deeper. He traces financial transactions, shell companies, encrypted communications. One name keeps appearing in the shadows. North Park Consulting. It is a front. Behind it sits Neuroline Systems, Whitmore's biggest competitor. And behind Neuroline's attack is someone inside Whitmore who has been feeding them information for years. The approvals, the access points, the insider knowledge, all of it traces back to one person. Valerie Stone, CFO, trusted advisor. Alexandra's friend for 15 years. When Carter shows her the evidence, Alexandra refuses to believe it. Valerie has been with me since the beginning. She's my friend. She wouldn't. Carter's voice is gentle but firm. That's what makes it easier. No one suspects family. Alexandra stares at the screen. Transactions, emails, access logs. All pointing to Valerie. She feels the world tilt. She has lost her mother, lost her humanity, lost so much in pursuit of success. And now, she is losing the one person she thought would never betray her. Carter builds one final trap. A fake financial server, perfect in every detail, containing merger plans, sensitive enough to destroy Whitmore if leaked. Only 3 people are told it exists. Alexandra, Carter, and Valerie. They watch the logs. 1 hour passes, then 2. At 11:37 at night, the server is accessed. The IP address traces to Valerie's private office in the financial district. Carter and Alexandra drive there in silence, the city lights blurring past. They find Valerie at her desk, her monitor glowing, documents open that she should not have. She looks up when they enter. Her face is calm. Too calm. Alexandra, Valerie says softly, you shouldn't be here. Alexandra's voice cracks. You sold me out. Why? Valerie leans back in her chair. She looks tired. Because you never saw me. 15 years, Alexandra. I built the financial foundation of this company. I saved you from bankruptcy twice. I gave you everything. And you still introduced me as my CFO like I was a tool you owned. You never once asked if I was okay, if I was happy, if I had a life outside of making you richer. Alexandra's hands tremble. So you tried to destroy me? I tried to get paid what I was worth. Neuroline offered me $10 million and a COO position. Real power, real recognition. You offered me a salary and a title and the privilege of watching you take credit for my work. Carter presses a key on his laptop. The screen fills with logs, emails, transactions, all of it undeniable. Everything you did is recorded. The feds are already on their way. Valerie's calm breaks. Her eyes flash with anger and pain. You think this ends with me? You have no idea how high this goes. The door opens. Federal agents in dark suits enter. Valerie Stone is handcuffed and led away. Before she leaves, she looks at Alexandra one last time. You saw him after one night. I was here 15 years and you never saw me. The words cut deeper than any betrayal. Alexandra stands alone in the office, watching the woman she called a friend disappear into a police car. Carter stands beside her, silent and steady. She was right, Alexandra whispers. I didn't see her. I didn't see anyone. Carter does not argue. He just places a hand on her shoulder. You can start now. The news breaks hard. Whitmore Technologies CFO arrested in corporate espionage scandal. The stock market panics. Investors demand answers. The board calls emergency meetings. But Alexandra does not hide. She does not spin. She stands in front of cameras and tells the truth. I built this company on ambition, she says. I thought success meant winning, but I was wrong. Success means seeing the people who make your dreams possible. I failed at that, and I will spend every day forward trying to fix it. The honesty shocks the industry, but slowly, trust returns. Alexandra changes Whitmore Technologies from the inside. She implements flexible work policies for single parents. She creates on-site childcare. She builds a second chance program, hiring people who have been overlooked by society, formerly incarcerated engineers who were wrongly convicted, caregivers who left the workforce to care for dying family members, talented people who fell through the cracks and were labeled unemployable. One evening, Alexandra drives to an address Carter gave her. It is a modest apartment building in Brooklyn, far from Manhattan's gleaming towers. She climbs 3 flights of stairs and knocks on a door painted blue. Carter opens it, surprised. Miss Whitmore? Just Alexandra, she says softly. The apartment is small, but warm. The walls are covered with Ruby's drawings, crayons, and markers depicting dinosaurs and castles, and a stick figure girl holding hands with a stick figure man. Toys are scattered on a worn rug. Books are stacked on every surface. It smells like home. Ruby appears from the hallway, eyes wide. Hi, Miss Whitmore. Daddy says you're his boss. Alexandra kneels down to Ruby's level. Your dad's the reason all of this exists. He's the real boss of my life decisions now. Ruby grins. She drags Alexandra to the small kitchen table, where Carter is making spaghetti, nothing fancy, just noodles and jar sauce and garlic bread. They eat together, the 3 of them, laughing at Ruby's knock-knock jokes and her stories about school. And for the first time in 15 years, Alexandra Whitmore feels what it is like to belong to a family. She leaves late, standing at the door, reluctant to go. Carter walks her to her car. Thank you for coming, he says. Thank you for letting me, she replies. As she drives away, she glances in the rearview mirror and sees Carter and Ruby standing in the window, waving. She realizes she has spent her whole life chasing success, but maybe what she needed was right here, in a 3-room apartment with spaghetti and stick figure drawings and people who actually saw her. 3 months later, Alexandra calls Carter and Ruby to Whitmore Technologies. She leads them down to the basement, to the server room where everything began. But the space is transformed. The cold machinery is gone, replaced by bright lights and open desks, and a glass sign that reads, The Hayes Innovation Center. The metal plaque beside the door says, Dedicated to those the world overlooked, but who never stopped trying. Ruby gasps. She runs forward, her sneakers squeaking on the polished floor. In the corner sits a small chair, child-sized, with a brass plate engraved, Ruby Hayes. Ruby spins around, her face glowing. Daddy, that's my name. Carter's throat tightens. Tears spill over. You didn't have to do this. Alexandra's voice is thick with emotion. I wanted to. This company wouldn't be here without you, and maybe neither would I. The next week, Alexandra stands on a stage at a technology conference in front of 2,000 people. Behind her, the Whitmore Technologies logo glows against a dark screen. Cameras flash, investors watch. But Alexandra is not looking at them. She is looking at the back of the auditorium, where Carter and Ruby sit, hand in hand. People ask how we survived, Alexandra begins. They expect an answer about technology, about strategy, about market positioning. But the truth is, we were saved by a single dad janitor the world had forgotten. We were saved by someone I walked past 100 times and never saw. And that is the story I need to tell. She talks about Carter, about the invisible workers who keep the world running: the cleaners, the baristas, the delivery drivers, the people society ignores. She challenges the audience. Look at the people you pass every day. They're not invisible. You just haven't been seeing them. Their stories, their brilliance, their worth, it's always been there. We just refuse to look. The room is silent. Then someone in the back stands. Then another. The applause builds, crashing like a wave. But Alexandra is not looking at the stage lights or the investors. She is looking at Ruby, who is standing on her chair, clapping hard, shouting, "That's my dad." After the conference, the three of them walk out into the Manhattan night. It is raining lightly, the city lights reflecting off wet pavement. Ruby jumps over puddles, laughing, holding both their hands. Carter's on one side, Alexandra's on the other. She swings between them, her joy uncomplicated and pure. Alexandra looks at Carter over Ruby's head. "I used to think miracles came from numbers and strategy and winning. Now I know they come from people who refuse to give up." Carter smiles. His voice is soft, full of warmth. "Then you and Ruby. You're the only miracles I'll ever need." They walk into the rain together, no longer a CEO and a janitor, but three people who found each other in the wreckage and built something new. The city glows around them. The Hayes Innovation Center will open next week, full of second chances and overlooked brilliance. Whitmore Technologies will thrive, not because of ruthless ambition, but because of compassion and recognition and the simple act of seeing people. And in a modest Brooklyn apartment, on a wall covered with crayon drawings, a new picture will appear: three stick figures holding hands under a rainbow. Underneath, in Ruby's careful handwriting, it will say, "My family." Because some stories do not end with victory or defeat. They end with love. And for Carter Hayes, Alexandra Whitmore, and Ruby Hayes, that is the only ending that matters.